For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission. If you're passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives.
Take your internet service to new levels with Allo, your award-winning internet provider across our fiber hoods. Allo isn't just about the fastest internet available. It's about connecting you to your world, work, and play seamlessly. Our award-winning service ensures affordable, secure, and reliable connectivity, setting us apart. Ready to transform your internet experience? Experience the fiber difference today. Sign up now at allofiber.com. Allo, connecting your world.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
When you're in New York, Nick, in New York, I mean, you're talking about, you see mafioso types. You go into a restaurant and you would literally eat. Hey, come on over here. You know, they I don't know how to say it. I don't got the accent, but they would say, come, Strick, come here, come over. Have a drink on me. And what are you going to do? Say no?
You not say
you
no
don't
to that?
say no to the drink. You don't say no.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
It's $5.99 barbecue time. Hurry to Hog Wild for a complete barbecue meal that's only $5.99. Get a one-meat sandwich loaded with our award-winning barbecue, plus your choice of a classic side and drink for just $5.99. Upgrade your sandwich to beef brisket for just $1 more. Join us for lunch or dinner in Lincoln at 3210 Cornhusker Highway. Order online at gohogwild.com.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello and welcome into the Daily Nebraskan show right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
Ben Droz, one of the sports writers at the Daily Nebraskan, and I'm joined here, like every Tuesday night, from 11 to 12, by Joseph Meyer, the senior sports editor, and we are here. So first segment, we're just going to get right into it. Not even going to, say how we're doing, because that's just gibberish. We got to get right into it. And on the Owl VIP line, we have Rachel Miller, one of our sports writers, and she wrote a feature recently about some of the international students, some of the international athletes here at UNL, and we kind of wanted to bring her on to talk a little bit about that. So first off, Rachel, do we got you?
Yes, we do. Hello.
Hey, Rachel, how are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing great.
We're pretty good. I'm excited to hear your kind of perspective on this story. So if you want to start it off just by talking about what the idea behind the feature story was and how you kind of came up with it, and then just give us the overall basics before we dive into everything that you uncovered in the story.
Yeah, so the article is about Nicola Hawk. She's from Germany. She's a soccer player for defense. And then Martina Komen, she is actually the second Italian to be an NCAA gymnast. Honestly, the whole idea just kind of came looking at some of the rosters, and I realized that there are quite a few international student athletes that have chosen to come to Nebraska instead of a different D1 school, and I wanted to get at least two of their perspectives on why they chose Nebraska.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, you look at some of, and I know the athletic department does a great job of this with scholarships and stuff. The amount of international athletes that have come to the middle of the Great Plains, the middle of the cornfields. How does Nebraska pull these athletes here? And so that was something that you kind of discussed in your story, and I've got from a lot of different people over the years on just how Nebraska is able to pull these players and these athletes from foreign countries to Nebraska when they probably haven't even heard of Nebraska before. So let's start with Nicola. What brought her to Nebraska? Kind of like, what was her story on getting to this place from Germany?
Yeah, so in Europe as a whole, you cannot play your sport, whatever it may be, collegiately. So if you decide to continue playing, in Nico's instance, soccer, she would have to find a separate team, like a club team, and travel and find a way to travel for away games and for practice or training. So just like wasn't feasibly possible along with studying for like, her degree. So she, like Martina, she worked with an agency. She ended up going to First Delta State in Mississippi for her first 2 years. And then she wanted to level up to a D1 school because her goal and her dreams are to make it pro for soccer. So she wanted that competitiveness that a D1 school can bring. So, I mean, it was like really interesting talking to her, just like learning more about that. And yeah, that was really like all she wanted was the competitiveness, but then also preparing herself for making it to the pros.
Yeah. Was there anything when you were talking to her that really surprised you about her journey? I mean, it's rare that you see someone come to a small school across the ocean and then find their way to Nebraska. Anything in specific that surprised you with her story and her journey here?
Yeah. So she, like I said, she worked with an agency when she went to Delta State. She realized how easy that process is because the agency just sent videos of her playing, her practice to these different coaches. And because it was during COVID, it was a little bit harder for her to get into contact with some of the D1 schools because there were limits on that during that time. But she ended up doing it all herself, which I thought was really amazing for her to do. She sent in the videos to the D1 schools and the coaches, and John Walker, the head coach here at Nebraska for soccer, really liked her style and decided that they wanted to go with her.
Yeah, that's got to be a game changer with the way you recruit, especially overseas, with how prevalent social media and just being able to send in clips is nowadays. Coleman, I know, in the article you mentioned how it was kind of a more difficult journey to Nebraska as opposed to Nikola. So what were kind of some differences you saw in the way that both of them got to Nebraska, where Nikola, you kind of had that get to a smaller D1 school or a smaller school and then come D1 versus Martina and the way she got here?
Yeah, Martina, she works with an agency, but it was also, again, during COVID, so it was a little bit harder, to get into contact with some of these schools, possibly. But it wasn't until 2 months from May, I believe is what she said, that she finally heard from Heather Brink, the head coach for gymnastics, women's gymnastics, that she reached out and she was offered a full ride. And that's really what made her want to come to Nebraska, was that full ride scholarship, but also just, again, the competitiveness that Nebraska offers. But yeah.
Was there did either of them have a language barrier when they first came here, or was that maybe something that they had already gotten used to? I mean, competing at a high level of sports in other countries.
Yeah, they definitely had a language barrier. I remember both of them telling me that there are times where they're trying to think of a word in English to translate to like their native language or vice versa. And somebody points out like, hey, that's not a real word that you're trying to think of. So they definitely struggled. They definitely did struggle with, that language barrier between their teammates and their coaches, but like they had time to improve on it. Yeah. They had those 4 years while they were here or are here. And
I just can't imagine that, like, playing a D1 sport is difficult enough to have that extra level. I mean, there were times in this past basketball season where a couple of the players in Hoiberg would talk about how, they don't really know, they don't know the language. So they just learn the basketball terminology. That's so impressive to me. Like to be able to do that. And I'm sure it's the same for these two.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ben.
One question I wanted to ask, I didn't know if you got to this in your story. So, I mean, I know there's quite a bit of international athletes for gymnastics because of the way that sport works, and a lot of other smaller sports here, along with, basketball, whatever. Did you touch on NIL when it comes to international athletes? Because I know that has kind of been a big deal and how NIL works with those international athletes. Did you talk to them about that at all?
I was not able to. That was like something way back in my mind. I really just wanted to know how they got here and what their families thought of them coming to, like you guys said, middle of nowhere. We're in the cornfields, Nebraska.
Yeah, so I believe the stipulation is they can't have an NIL contract in the traditional sense because they are on a student visa. I think that's the way it's been explained to me. Which is they're strange.
Yeah,
there's developments to be made.
Definitely needs to change. It can't.
But yeah, there's no reason that Rink Mash shouldn't be able to cash in on a NIL when his teammates are. And so how did they talk at all about how that changed from coming, like leaving their family, maybe specifically for each one, how leaving their family and coming here had been tough for them or been a challenge, or maybe some ways that they've found to overcome that?
Honestly, both of them. And after speaking to their parents, they really praise just FaceTime and WhatsApp. They really went on about those two, just keeping in contact. There is the really weird time difference for both girls and their families back home, but I really enjoyed when I was talking to Nikola's mom. She was telling me how during their games, Nikola's games, her and her family will stay up to watch them. And then after Nikola is done and off the field and redressed, she will call them immediately after, and they will stay up for however long just to talk to her.
Wow. I mean, I kind of forgot, time difference.
Right.
Yeah. That's just something you don't even think about.
The distance physically, you're so far apart, but not being able to, be on the same life track as them. You have a late night game, it's early morning for them.
I mean,
mid-afternoon is the middle of the night.
You go to a different state, across the country, just in the same, just in the U.S., it feels so different. I couldn't even imagine, halfway across the world. That's just got to be super crazy, and definitely had to be a change for them. Rachel, anything else that you want to touch on before we wrap up this segment?
Honestly, just what the coach John Walker told me, using social media to come and recruit these international student athletes. And then what Heather Brink said, the more international student athletes that we bring into Nebraska, those are more connections that the school has to bring other international student athletes here.
I love that the coaches have that mindset because I think, you look at overall, we saw the rankings come out for the overall sports levels for Nebraska. And what was it, number 7 so far for the winter sports of the composite. And you got to think that overall as an athletic department, bringing in these players who, or, competitors, I guess gymnastics is not a player, it's a gymnast, but bringing in these athletes who are, you wouldn't expect them to come to this state. It's not a recruiting ground that these athletes have probably heard of coming from overseas.
Oh, no.
But I think it's really impressive what these coaches have been able to do and just overall be a welcoming environment for these international athletes to go back home and have, we've seen it with Casey this year of and I'm sure for many of these athletes, it's the same way of this person is from my hometown or my home country. They're playing at Nebraska, and that's got to be great for recruiting pipelines, I'm sure. Yeah. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us. Really enjoyed this one. Keep doing your great work, and we love the personal features you're putting out.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Have a good rest of your night, Rachel. So we're going to send it to break. We come back from break. We're going to get some Husker basketball talk in because they made a big splash in the portal.
a big splash physically.
He's
big.
like the player,
like
physically.
7'1" big.
Yes. So definitely going to jump into that next segment right here on the Dan Wayne Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission. If you are passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives.
In a world where businesses are facing daily cyber threats, you need protection like never before. Don't let hackers and malware companies compromise your business success. Stay ahead of data breaches with Hamilton Cybersecurity. Let Hamilton provide you with peace of mind that your business is protected. Our experts identify and mitigate risks before they become disasters. As your trusted partner, we help you protect your valuable information. Hire your local cybersecurity experts. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Whether you like fishing together or fishing to get away, for the thrill of reeling in a big one, or just going out to have a good time, on the banks of your local pond, at a bend in a river, or on one of our many lakes and reservoirs, you'll always find the perfect place to cast a line, here, beneath Nebraska skies. Start planning your next fishing adventure today at letsfishnebraska.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Load up on meat and more this spring at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through April 30th is buy one, get one free on New York strips, limit 4 per visit. Also 15% off koozie chips and nuts. And don't forget about lunch on Fired Up Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Locations at 84th and Havelock and 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
I'm Dave Osted. And I'm Ryan Osted. Every golfer will get value from being custom fit. The truth is, the higher handicappers will get more value from being custom fit than the low handicappers.
It's changed so much since my dad started the business in 1963. We now have hundreds of thousands of dollars in technology, and we know exactly what the spin rate is, what the launch angle is. We encourage you to bring your current clubs in now, and we can compare it. And guys walk out of the store knowing that the purchase they just made is going to give them 21 more yards off the tee box. Play better, have fun, and shop Osted's.
Do you need your event or venue secured? Call Tank Security Team. Tank Security Team is Lincoln's #1 non-lethal security company. Tank Security Team offers first-class security with efficient and quicker response times. Hire Tank Security Team. No hassle, no headaches. Call Tank at 402-310-3589 and get secured today.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
When you're in New York, Nick, in New York, I mean, you're talking about, you see mafioso types. You go into a restaurant and you would literally eat, hey, come on over here. You know, they I don't know how to say it. I don't got the accent, but they would say, come straight, come here, come over. Have a drink on me. And what are you going to do? Say no?
You not say
you
no
don't
to that?
say no to the drink. You don't say no.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Soulful Casino in Havelock is a family-owned business, providing incredible food and service that'll have you craving more with every bite. Soulful Casino offers everything from pulled pork to fried chicken, catfish, ribs, and even quesadillas. You want sides? They've got them. From fries, green beans and baked beans, to collard greens, potato salad, and sweet dill corn. Stop by for lunch as they have specials Tuesday through Friday from 11 to 2 p.m. That's Soulful Casino, located in Havelock, where every bite you take fills the soul.
Old School with DP and J.
Nebraska and their staff, football-wise, have done a really good job of, keeping guys, happy. And then obviously they see the opportunity here. Whereas I don't think there's a general reason that you can say, okay, this is why kids are going in the portal. Now we're seeing, even when they're in really good situations for them, they still leave.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello and welcome back into the Daily Nebraskan show right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Ben and Joseph still here with you.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to get into some Nebraska basketball talk because Nebraska landed yet another player in the transfer portal. Joseph, do you want to describe who this is?
Well, we've been talking about how Nebraska needs size.
Oh, yeah.
A lot. And jury's still out on Rick Mast.
Yep.
Could test the pro waters at this point. That's pretty unlikely. Could test the transfer portal waters. Could have surgery. We don't know where he's going yet. I'm assuming he's going to be back either on the sideline after undergoing surgery or playing. But you can't sit around and wait too long because you need a center, and he's really not even a true center. Not like this guy.
No.
So Braxton Mee, I believe is how you say it. I'm not 100% sure on the pronunciation. Senior center from Washington. 7'1", Ben. That's the size that Nebraska needed.
Did Nebraska even have someone over 7 foot on the roster this year? I don't even think they did.
How tall is Blaze? Believe Blaze was the tallest.
I don't think he was 7 foot.
I think he's close. He might be 6'11".
Even so, he didn't.
Yeah, he's 6'11".
Okay, not 7 foot.
So 7'1". That's 2 inches taller than Blaze.
Yeah.
Now,
Nebraska's not seen.
I think a lot of people see the 7'1", and they're like, oh, we're winning the national championship. That's what Husker fans are saying.
I don't think anyone is saying that.
You'd be surprised. I've seen some. I think they're facetious takes on Twitter, but I have seen some interesting. I think this improves Nebraska's depth.
At the end,
definitely. But again, they missed out on all their top guys at the forward position, and so this is a little bit of a backup. Just entered the portal last week. Only took one visit. Not going to say there was any tampering going on, but he knew he was going to come here and get a spot. That's what it says to me. I don't know all the details of it, but you transfer out of the portal, and 1 week later, you're accepting your first offer. He knew where he wanted to come. So, top 40 nationally in defensive rebounding percentage, pretty solid. Led the country in 2-point field goal percentage, which is really solid, 77%. Never attempted a three.
So not a 2-point
So there's
shooter.
not going to be any shooting.
Which, we saw that from Alec. And sometimes Husker fans would cringe when they'd see Alec shoot threes.
But he could make them. This guy probably, I don't know. I would love to see him attempt one. I wonder if he attempts in practice.
If I throw up 10 threes, I'll probably make one. I'm assuming he can make some.
Yeah.
If you give me 20 shots, Joseph, I'm going to make one.
All right, we might have to do a live stream of the DN show from the Coliseum take some shots.
I guarantee you I can make a 3-pointer.
So
give me 20 attempts.
He's a senior. This will be his last year of eligibility. 2 years at Fresno State. or just at, I believe, Fresno.
Then
And
Washington, right?
Yeah, 2 years at Fresno State, 2 years at Washington.
He was
averaged 17 minutes last year, dealt with some nagging injuries, didn't get as much playing time as maybe he hoped to.
Team, though, the year before.
Yeah, 27 minutes, started all 31 games, averaged 8 points, 8.8 points, and 7.5 rebounds. So, like, that's the ceiling, I think, if he can get healthy and get up to par. But again, another senior. So, like, this is the year.
Oh, we've known that. We've known that.
This roster, I'm just excited for the next offseason because
how can you be excited for next? I mean,
as a content creator,
I guess
we will have unlimited stuff to discuss. Ben Beacham's Transfer Portal Mania articles will go crazy because they're going to need to fill 11 spots in the transfer portal.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've known that this was going to be the case.
Yes.
Though.
But I think I respect it because it's like, okay, we need size for 1 year. Let's go out and get size for 1 year.
Yeah, I mean, so let's now talk about the fit because definitely a player we really haven't, like a type of player we haven't seen on Nebraska's roster this last year.
Not in a while.
Really.
You haven't had a true size, like a true center with size in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you had Derek Walker, but I mean, how tall was he?
6'10", I think.
Yeah, like not 7'1". Was he 7'1" or 7'2"? 7'1".
7'1".
Yeah, so
which
he's just gonna tap.
Could be 7 foot or 7'2". But I mean, you never know. You never know with these roster.
We'll just put it at 7'1".
Derek Walker's 6'9".
See, that's like, man, that's not that tall. I mean, it is tall,
but not for a center in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
but I mean, it worked well for him because he was so talented,
taller than me.
But again, like this guy, it's watching some of the tape. He can throw it down.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. I've said I trust Hoiberg through this whole process, but knowing that this wasn't one of his top priorities, assuming it's not one of his top priorities because they were chasing after so many other guys, that's where I would have a little bit of a pause of maybe this offseason didn't go quite as well.
Oh, I mean,
with guys like William Kyle not coming here and,
no one's
Payne
giving,
not even taking a visit.
No one's giving Nebraska an A+ for this offseason.
No.
I mean, nobody. I mean,
it's hard to do though when you have so many guys out.
I mean, yeah, you had so many guys leaving. You had a disappointing tournament, and I honestly, if I was going to grade this offseason, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, maybe like a B. I would give like a B or B+. I don't even. I mean,
but can you grade it yet? I don't think you can grade it yet.
Right now, that's what I would say.
Okay.
But like, there's still a lot of pieces that have a lot of dominoes that have yet to fall. And
I mean, yeah, there's only 2 scholarship spots left, though. I mean, I think they need another shooter, and
they need a perimeter guard. They don't have one. They don't have a guy that can go and get his own shot on the perimeter.
I don't know if that's going to be there in the portal.
I know, but they don't have that. And that's the one
I think Williams can take a step in that category. I think we saw that over the last couple of games of the season.
No, I love Bryce Williams. That's just not his game, though.
I think it can be.
He's not like a Jamarcus Lawrence, CJ Wilcher, Keisei Tominaga from the perimeter.
Yes, but he's way more consistent.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying he's a worse player. He's better than
how many games did those 3 guys you just said, 2 of them play productively at the same time?
But this is what I'm saying.
Almost never.
The fact that they had 3 of them, though, meant that usually one was going to have it going. Now you have no players like that, so you don't even have a chance.
I think Essegian is going to take a big step in this offense.
We'll see. I still feel like the offense is going to take a step back this year, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to be as good.
I don't think. Again, you're losing a guy that can hit shots from anywhere on the floor.
Exactly.
So, I don't think that was the expectation going into the season, into the offseason. But wanting to get size, they improved size for sure.
As long as Mass comes back.
Yes.
If Mass doesn't come back, you kind of back to square one.
With the 7-1 center, you bring in Gavin Griffiths, who's potential. Here's what it breaks down to me. You've got guys who are proven that they can play, not at a super high level, that are aging, But you've also brought in a couple of guys that have shown flashes that weren't in the right system or never really got their opportunity, like Griffiths and like Esigian. If Esigian returns to his freshman year form and Griffiths lives up to his 4-star potential, this offense could be very solid. I think Hoiberg has the potential to bring that out in them. I think that's why he went out and got them.
No, I'm not saying this is a terrible offseason or anything like that. I mean, this is still just like, there's a lot of question marks. And this is what you're going to get with the transfer portal. There's a reason these players are entering the transfer portal. They're not entering the transfer portal. I mean, if they like let's just be for real. In most cases, if you're entering the transfer portal, it's probably because you're A, looking for more minutes, or B, you really didn't fit this team you were on, maybe. Or maybe something went on behind
So
the
then
scenes.
why does CJ Wilcher go in the portal? That's my question.
You never know, man. But like I'm saying, most of the time, those are the reasons. So it's not like you're going to get, some of the best college athletes hitting the transfer portal too much. Doesn't happen too often. So these aren't going to be players that are going to be like complete game changers and make Nebraska, like completely vault Nebraska. These are just going to be a bunch of solid players that you have to hope you hit on most of them. Because if you don't, I mean, if all of these guys pan out, Nebraska could be even better this next year. But there's a good chance, though, that only one or two do, and Nebraska could take a little step back.
So here's where I'd push back on that. Yes, you're not always seeing the most elite athletes, but for whatever reason, Nebraska is losing battles to other teams that they, in my opinion, should not be losing battles to.
Explain.
Like Pharrell Payne not even taking a visit to campus.
Yeah.
William Kyle's getting swooped in at the last moment by UCLA. Omaha Billieu, again, not the greatest player in the country, but he would be a game changer for Nebraska. And they just weren't ever really competitive, at least from what I've seen with a lot of these guys. They had a shot, they gave him a look, but nothing really ever came of it.
I mean,
that comes to me a question of, is it something to do with NIL? Is it something to do with, again, Nebraska doesn't have a great basketball history? Because I don't think it's Hoiberg.
No,
or the culture or the basketball culture.
No,
I don't think anyone's like, yeah, I don't really want to play with Hoiberg and Gary and Williams.
No, it's nothing to do with that. It's the fact that, you can go to these quote unquote blue bloods, which I don't even know what a blue blood is anymore. The term gets thrown around all over the place. But I mean, you have these teams that have a much richer history than Nebraska when it comes to basketball. Let's take a step back. Where was Nebraska 4 years ago? Nebraska's in a much better spot than they were 3 or 4 years ago.
I get that.
So, you're not gonna be able to build it overnight. You're not gonna be able to turn Nebraska into a place that every player in the country wants to come to overnight. This is something he's got to build. This was the first year. We forget this is the first year that Hoiberg and this team really had any success. I mean, let's just be for real.
I know
they haven't. This is just and a lot of people feel like, was it a fluke season? I mean, you don't know. This is something you have to have sustained success before you can bring in players that are going to be true game changers.
I understand that. I just think in terms of NIL, you have to be able to compete with schools like Wake Forest. Losing Omaha Billieu this offseason and losing Hunter Salas to Wake Forest last offseason. That, could you imagine Hunter Salas on that team last year? The Nebraska has to get to a point, whatever it is, whether it's NIL or it's history, which they need to build first. They need to get to a point where Nebraska, let's be honest, has a better program overall athletics-wise, more money, more endowment, more passionate fan base than Wake Forest.
This is what I'm saying. So
across every sport.
I don't think it's an NIL thing, though. It just can't be, because there's no way Wake Forest is offering more than Nebraska.
Who knows? Pharrell Payne goes to Texas A&M. Texas A&M is not a blue blood by any means for basketball. But you know what they definitely had? More NIL money. Yeah. And I would almost guarantee you that CJ Wilcher got more NIL money than he was getting here too.
That's Texas A&M. We're talking about Wake Forest here.
Right, but I'm just saying some of these priority guys they lost to. UCLA for William Kyle, again, basketball history, but I've also heard they gave a huge NIL package for him. I don't know if it's a situation where donors are not wanting to get involved with Nebraska basketball specifically because there's no proven history yet. Whereas with Nebraska football, they are more willing to put up their money.
It's just a combination of all that. I mean, honestly, Nebraska basketball is not as popular as Nebraska football.
No, I understand
not
that,
even
but
close.
That's the way it is at almost every school. Like Texas A&M men's basketball is not nearly as popular as Texas A&M men's
There's
football.
a lot of teams that don't even, their football program is non-existent compared to their basketball team.
That in the Big East, yes, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, with some of these programs,
Big Ten. Indiana. I would consider that more of a basketball school than
Indiana and Purdue. I'm struggling to hit a third there. Maybe
Rutgers?
Illinois. Yeah, Rutgers is just really bad at football though, so it's hard to know. Yeah, I mean, some of those East Coast schools, but again, just the endowment overall with football. I don't know. I'm not reading the tea leaves too much. It's just, if I'm Nebraska, it's frustrating to lose out on these. Again, the Big Ten is going to be a really, really good conference of basketball this year. Nebraska has some of the best facilities in the country. They have the NIL backing. They have the athletic department backing. For some reason, that's not translating the same way it is in other sports as it is to basketball. And that might just be because of the lack of history. And that's understandable.
It's got to be that. I mean, it just has to be that.
But it just, I personally think Hoiberg is being a little bit held back on what he's able to do in the transfer portal. Because of Nebraska specifically. And I think he's excited to build that in the future where that's not the case. But back-to-back off seasons now where we've seen guys, it's like, this would make perfect sense. They can make up a big NIL package for him. They are in, steps with Hoiberg the entire offseason. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, he went here. Now, again, that happens at every school. So maybe I'm just looking too much into it.
I think you're reading too much into it.
I just think for some of these guys, it's a little bit like you thought you'd get one or two of them. Like really, most of the guys that Nebraska's pulled in, they haven't really beat anyone for. Like Morgan was coming here. Griffiths was probably going to come here. He didn't have a ton of other looks. Asijan didn't have a ton of other looks, was probably going to come here. Let's get to the point where Chucky Hepburn and Frankie Fiddler are like, we got to come to Nebraska. I'm just saying.
That's a long ways away.
It is, but I think that's the direction that the athletic department needs to go in because it's there with every other sport.
I mean, you're bringing up NIL, and I don't think that's the problem because Nebraska should be able to compete with any school when it comes to NIL. Whether they want to or not for specific players, that's another question. We don't know. We don't know what they're willing to fork up for whatever.
Go ahead.
Nebraska, though, Nebraska has some of the best donors in one of the best funded athletic departments in the country.
How much of that is specifically going to basketball? I don't know.
That's another thing. Where is that money going? That's another question.
And I think most Husker fans would be satisfied with being mediocre in basketball and great in football, which I think is a little bit unfortunate. Just because I think we saw how electric PBA was this year and how much of an entertaining team that is when it's on fire and how devoted this fan base can be. So I think it's a little unfortunate that it gets the backburn of football at times. But again, when you've got 60,000 people going to a spring game and the national media talking about a guy that's shouldn't even be graduated from high school yet playing a Memorial Field, it's hard to be like, oh, and then there's basketball too. So
yeah, I mean, basketball isn't Nebraska's
it's moving in the right direction.
Nebraska's never going to be a basketball school. Never, ever.
Oh, I don't think that. I think that's a terrible mindset to have.
Not more than football. Not more than football.
No, obviously.
That's what I'm saying. Nebraska. I'm not saying they'll always be bad.
But there are schools that do it really well.
In both. But I'm saying basketball is never going to be put ahead of football.
Obviously.
Ever. So obviously most of the majority of the NIL money is going to go to the thing that's bringing in the most money, and that's football. I would honestly love to see the stats between how much money football brings in basketball because
yes, we know. I just think it's weird. We see some of these athletes going to schools. It's like, oh, he went there for NIL. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But then the same isn't happening for Nebraska, which makes me think that there's not being enough being put forward.
I agree.
But also that may be an issue of just fan base and funding. And again,
I mean,
it's not a basketball school.
Theoretically, Nebraska does have the resources to be able to compete with any basketball school in NIL and stuff. Like they do. They have it. It's
Right.
just they're not wanting to spend it on basketball.
Potentially. I think that'd be a bigger story of diving into to where the resources are going. But I just think I trust Hoiberg to work with what he's got.
He's doing the best.
I think they'll still be a tournament team this season. I'm just not confident in their ability to.
I think we have a long ways to go.
If they face, I mean, you bring back your core and you don't. I still don't think you lose a ton. Now, the issue again, we look at who they lost. Most people weren't confident in most of those guys going into last season. So, but I think
all eyes were on Casey.
The issue is you face another Texas A&M. I mean, Texas A&M is going to be a really good team, so I don't think they would face them. You play another team like Texas A&M with that physicality. I don't know if they've added enough this offseason to make that difference, especially with the lack of shooting that they brought in.
People are underestimating how big of a loss Casey is. I really feel like they are. Casey was the reason it was so electric and this team was talked about so much. Without Casey, I don't care if you bring in talent even close to him.
I agree with you, and I love his play style. But you could say the same exact thing for Williams down the stretch. They do not win half of those games without him.
I'm just saying team energy-wise. Like, basketball is such a mental sport.
We'll see.
It's a mental sport.
We saw how Asisha could get hot. Let's not count him out yet.
I'm like, the Nebraska was just a different team. Not like, I'm not going to say they on the court on paper were way better when Casey was on, but like you just watching the team, they just look so much better. But with that, we got to throw the break. When we come back, we're going to get our reaction to the Husker baseball game that went tonight.
Oh boy.
Lost. Another midweek game. So can't wait to dive into that.
The Blue Jays.
Can't wait to dive into that right here on the Day Away Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you don't just get a great workout, you get a great perk out because your membership is packed with perks. For $1 down and $24.99 a month, you'll get perks like access to any of our 2,400 clean and spacious locations. Bring your friend anytime and both work out with tons of equipment that'll give you that big fitness energy. Relax in the Black Card spa and more. Work out and perk out with the PF Black Card. Join for just $1 down and $24.99 a month.
Hurry, this deal ends soon.
See Home Club for details.
You can get diesel anywhere, but what about Atomic Diesel? That comes from Stern. Atomic Diesel is your solution to all your cold weather problems. Prevent clogged fuel filters, increase your fuel economy, and save money with Atomic Diesel. Contact Roger at Stern today by calling 1-800-477-2744 to see how Atomic Diesel and the rest of their line of fuels and lubricants can keep your operation running at max capacity. If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
At Southeast Community College, community is our middle name. Our continuing education classes offer personal interest, traffic safety and licensing, online learning, and adult education classes across Southeast Nebraska or online in your own home. Learn to ride a motorcycle, how to start a small business, how to dance, or take a course to advance in your current career path. See the full schedule of continuing education classes online at southeast.edu/continuing. SCC, your path to possible.
What a day. I could sure use an afternoon pick-me-up. Hold up. The new 93.7 The Ticket location has a milk, coffee, and tea inside? Oh, yeah. This is a game changer.
Need an afternoon pick-me-up? How about a coffee or smoothie on your way to work? Stop by the Ticket Mill location on 1040 O Street to get your go-to drink or try out our new game day drinks exclusive to the Ticket Mill location. We know it'll make your day a million times better.
Tune in to the Teammates Mentoring Hour each Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket. Hear stories from the program started by Tom and Nancy Osborne and how it's changed mentors and mentees' lives and how you can be involved. The Teammates Mentoring Hour, Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 o'clock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Take your internet service to new levels with Allo, your award-winning internet provider across our fiber hoods. Allo isn't just about the fastest internet available. It's about connecting you to your world, work, and play seamlessly. Our award-winning service ensures affordable, secure, and reliable connectivity, setting us apart. Ready to transform your internet experience? Experience the fiber difference today. Sign up now at allofiber.com. Allo, connecting your world.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
You don't think about your roof very often, but you should never take it for granted. Roofing Service Company takes every measure to provide you with the highest quality roofing solution. Whether it's a new roof installation, roof repair, or a re-roofing project, their overall goal is to provide you with a pleasant experience and a long-lasting roof. If you have a need for siding or gutters, they're your place too. Visit roofingservicecompany.com for more info today.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello and welcome back into the Daily Nebraskan show right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. One last segment. We're going to be here for about 5 more minutes before we wrap it up. And we're going to end the show with baseball talk because honestly, we haven't gotten into baseball too much on this show, and the season's already kind of getting to postseason already.
Yeah,
kind of flown by.
3 more series, I believe, this weekend, next weekend, and then they got Michigan State on the road, and then it's Big Tens in Omaha, and then NCAA tournament, which they will make, but not as high of a seed as some would have hoped because they can't win a midweek game.
It's so discouraging. It's just so like I literally said on the show yesterday. I was literally like, well, they're just gonna lose to Creighton on Tuesday, so
which is so strange because Creighton is not good. Like they might not even make the Big East tournament. Like it's just it is and at some point you have to be like, okay, can't win a midweek game, but sometimes you have to win the battles you can, win your battles, right?
It's like so Nebraska's men's basketball team couldn't win on the road for the longest time. Baseball can't win midweek. Why is there always something?
Well, I just think the pitching just isn't good enough for Nebraska in the midweek. And the problem with that is you get into a tournament environment where you can't wait a whole week.
Yeah.
You got to go to that third, fourth guy.
And they don't have it.
And they just don't have it right now. And so it's the same with Sunday. Like Sunday has been a struggle. Friday, Saturday have been great. You saw it last weekend with killing Iowa back-to-back nights. I guess they finished Saturday's game on Sunday. So they won a game on Sunday and lost a game on Sunday, but it was Saturday's game. Creighton, Nebraska got the lead early tonight. Creighton tied it up really quick, and then an absolute firestorm went up 6-1. Nebraska made it 6-3, got back into it a little bit, and then couldn't get anything else going. So 9-3 was the final. Actually, no, they might have rallied a couple of runs at the end there. Forgot to look at the very end of the game. We went live right as it ended. So
Joseph, one question I want to pose to you is, so this was a problem last year as well. So why? So a lot of time it's been pitching, like you said, pitching's been the problem. Why has this not been addressed during the offseason? Why? Like what? Like
Ben, don't get me on one of your let's fire the coach trains again here. Come on. Last time, how'd that work out for you?
Why is this not?
I already see where you're going
in the off season. I'm just curious. I'm curious. Why has it not been? Why can Nebraska only bring in 2 good pitchers and not have a good bullpen? Like,
because it's Big Ten baseball and it's Nebraska. I mean, it's not. I don't think the baseball transfer portal is as fiery as most other sports at this point.
Oh, I get it, but look at these other Big Ten schools.
I mean, Big Ten's really bad at baseball. So.
I mean, still, they're not losing at least they can win in the midweek sometimes.
Nebraska can win in the midweek sometimes. They've won a couple. I don't know. You just have this. You have this. Every time a Nebraska team loses, you want to fire the coach.
That is so not true. That is so not true.
How'd that work out for you with?
That is so not
Amy
true.
Williams.
That is so.
Now she's extended.
I would have waited, but
oh my goodness,
it's fine. It's fine. I'm
Nebraska baseball is going to be a tournament team, which is a lot more than a lot of teams could say in the Big Ten.
No, I agree. I'm not saying fire the coach at all.
I don't think there is enough angst to want to fire a coach that is bringing you to the NCAA tournament.
I'm not saying fire. Never. You're the one.
You
that
were
said
leading
that.
it there, and I just caught you before you got it.
No, you're the one that said it. You're the one that brought it up. I was purely just stating why
you love to play devil's advocate.
Nebraska cannot have a deep pitching game. It's really just like, I wonder if it's like, do the coaches believe in some of these other pitchers more than what they really are, or just struggle to get talent?
I don't know. Baseball is the only sport I haven't been a beat writer on, so I can't tell you the whole history of
it's
why Nebraska is the way it is. But I'll tell you what, Ben, baseball in Omaha in the summer is going to be fun.
It will be.
Hopefully, I'll be able to make it to one of those games at the Big Ten tournament, and it's a good time watching baseball in the summer. And if Nebraska's playing into the summer, I think Husker fans are just fine with that.
They're fine with that. No one's mad.
The booze is flowing at Haymarket Park. I think people will tolerate a couple midweek losses for a NCAA tournament.
I get tolerate, but this has kind of been ugly. I gotta be honest.
If Nebraska and Creighton play a weekend series, which I think they should. I don't love a midweek game anyway. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense in college. Like, you got to think these poor kids.
These poor kids.
They got a game Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right before finals week.
These poor kids.
I'm just saying.
Joseph, you're acting like a 40-year-old right now.
I'm just saying. I wouldn't want to be playing a game tonight, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. When are you going to do your homework?
No, I agree. I have all my homework hidden right now, so I don't know when I'd have time to actually do it if I was having to do that.
Exactly.
But
if Creighton and Nebraska played a weekend series, Nebraska would win at least 2 of them, probably 3 of them.
I don't know. I'm not saying they have to win every midweek game. I'm just like, they've just really struggled midweek.
It's just another really narrative for people to throw out. I get it's been an issue. It's a narrative.
It's what's happening.
It's what's happening, but it's another narrative. That I think a lot of people who don't actually follow the hims and haws of this team get worked up about. That's just my opinion.
We'll see. But with that, we're going to wrap up the show. Thank you for listening into the Daily Nebraskan show right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Me and Anthony will be on tomorrow, same time, 11 to 12. But until then, see ya.
Peace.
I see the future in our public school classrooms every day. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. I also see how critically important parent and community support